Ozzy Osbourne, the enduring legacy of the Prince of Darkness, rock icon, sitcom dad, and beyond. Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, has defied the odds to remain a beloved pop culture icon for decades. But here's where it gets fascinating. While many of his contemporaries faded into obscurity, Ozzy's cultural resonance only grew stronger. How did a man who once sang about Satan and bit the head off a bat, yes, it's true, though he thought it was rubber, become a cherished sitcom dad and a philanthropist? Let's dive into the lessons of Ozzy's legacy. From the start, Black Sabbath was anything but ordinary. Their 1970 debut album, ominously titled Black Sabbath, opened with the eerie sounds of a rainstorm, church bells, and a haunting guitar riff. Ozzy's howling question, "What is this that stands before me?" set the tone for a band that was darker, heavier, and more doom-laden than anything the world had heard before. While Led Zeppelin had already made waves, Sabbath's psychedelic visions were a stark contrast to the Flower Power era, rooted in the gritty streets of Birmingham, UK, rather than the sunny optimism of San Francisco. And this is the part most people miss. Black Sabbath's first 4 albums, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Master of Reality, and Volume 4, didn't just define heavy metal, they created it. Ozzy's success with Sabbath launched his solo career, but what's truly baffling is how he transitioned from the Prince of Darkness to a lovable, befuddled dad on the Osbournes. How did the man who once terrified parents become a household name, headlining a charity concert in Birmingham in 2025 and earning a tequila-soaked tribute from Drake that made it into the New York Times? The answer, I believe, lies in his ability to not take himself too seriously. This might sound absurd, given Sabbath's ominous sound and Ozzy's genuinely frightening persona in the 80s. As a kid, I heard the legends, the bat incident, the dove, the rumored chicken sacrifices, though the antifreeze-laced chicken on a fence was more about scaring coyotes than ritual. It all seemed dangerous, and yet, somehow, fun. But fast forward 2 decades, and Ozzy was a sitcom dad, struggling with a remote control, dedicated to his family, and far more relatable than anyone expected. The once menacing rock star was just a parent with a unique day job. Here, the controversial part. Ozzy's success wasn't just about his music, it was about his willingness to embrace vulnerability and humor. While many rock stars cling to their mystique, Ozzy laughed at himself. He knew the irony of the Prince of Darkness being unable to house train his dogs, and he leaned into it. In an era where authenticity trumped image, Ozzy's self-awareness made him bigger than ever. The Osbournes boosted his albums, and Ozfest and his wife, Sharon, became a celebrity in her own right, fiercely defending her husband with a wit that was both hilarious and intimidating. But let's not forget the evolution of the industry. In the 70s and 80s, mystique was currency. Led Zeppelin's rarity on TV only added to their allure. By the late 90s, overexposure became the new rebellion. Ozzy didn't just adapt, he thrived, proving that even rock stars are at their core entertainers. And while his streaming numbers didn't always reflect his fame, his final bow at the Back to the Beginning concert, raising millions for charity, showed that Ozzy was always more than his dark lyrics. So here's the question for you. Is Ozzy's legacy about his music, his reinvention, or his humanity? Or is it all of the above? Let's discuss in the comments. And remember, even the Grey Lady tipped her hat to the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne's death sparks massive streaming surge. What a biopic could mean for his legacy. When a music legend passes away, their legacy doesn't fade, it explodes. Numbers don't lie. Streams spike, albums climb charts, and fans rally around their favorite tracks like never before. But here's where it gets fascinating. While the initial surge is predictable, the real game changer for icons like Ozzy Osbourne might not be their death, but what happens after. A well-crafted biopic could catapult their catalog into stratospheric new heights, outpacing even the posthumous boost. Let's unpack why this matters and why fans and industry insiders should pay attention. Take a step back. When an artist dies, their music becomes a shared cultural moment. Tributes flood social media, news outlets replay their greatest hits, and streaming platforms see a frenzy of activity. Consider the ripple effect of recent losses. The Beach Boys' Pet Sounds album climbed to its highest chart position in 60 years after Brian Wilson's passing, while Sly and the Family Stone's streams skyrocketed by 563% in a single week. Even more startling, Angie Stone's streams jumped over 1,260% the week after her death. These aren't flukes. They're proof of a universal truth: grief fuels engagement. But here's where it gets controversial. What if the spike isn't the end of the story? For some icons, the posthumous momentum lasts. Sinead O'Connor's weekly U.S. consumption remains 32% higher than pre-death levels, and Tina Turner's catalog is still 25% stronger. Even when the numbers eventually dip, like with the New York Dolls, whose streams returned to normal 8 weeks after David Johansen's death, the legacy lingers. For someone like Ozzy Osbourne, whose name is synonymous with rock and roll excess and reinvention, the stakes are even higher. Osbourne's unique position as a pop culture icon means his death could trigger a surge far beyond the average artist. Compare him to Prince and David Bowie, two legends whose posthumous careers still thrive. When Prince died in 2016, his music consumption spiked 125-fold in the first week. And even 8 months later, it was double pre-death levels. Bowie's catalog followed a similar trajectory, with consumption up 61-fold the week of his death, and nearly doubling in sales by 2017. These are just numbers. They're cultural phenomena. And this is the part most people miss. The real magic often comes after the initial wave. For icons, a biopic can act as a second wind. Consider Bohemian Rhapsody, 2018, which grossed $900 million globally and turned Freddie Mercury's catalog into a 2024 juggernaut. Queen's U.S. consumption was 84% higher in 2024 than in 2017, dwarfing the 24% growth of Led Zeppelin, who never got a biopic. Elton John's Rocket Man, 2019, had a similar effect, sending his streams up 60% in its first year. Even Bob Dylan's recent A Complete Unknown, 2024, boosted his catalog by 245% in its first 6 weeks. But not all biopics hit the mark. Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody and Jimi Hendrix's Ginny Alla's by My Side underperformed at the box office, and their catalogs didn't see the same Queen-level revival. So what makes a biopic work? Timing, tone, and authenticity are key. Osbourne's story, equal parts rockstar chaos and mainstream redemption, could be tailor-made for Hollywood. After all, he's the man who bit the head off a bat on stage, started an MTV reality show, The Osbournes, and built a Sirius XM channel, Ozzy's Boneyard. His life is a movie script waiting to happen. Now here's the question that keeps industry execs up at night. Should we prioritize the artist's legacy or the box office? A biopic risks oversimplifying a complex figure, but it also has the power to reintroduce them to new generations. Will Ozzy's upcoming Paramount Plus documentary, set for late 2025, be enough to sustain his momentum? Or will a full-blown Hollywood film be the only way to cement his legacy? The answer could determine whether his catalog becomes the next Queen or fades into a posthumous footnote. What do you think? Is a biopic the right move for Osbourne? Or does it risk diluting the man behind the myth? Drop your thoughts below. We want to hear your take on this rock star size to date. Empire appoints Jennifer Way as EVP of Nashville Operations, shaping the future of country music. Imagine a music industry where innovation and creativity know no bounds, and the possibilities are endless. This is the world that Empire, a leading independent label and publisher, is striving to create. And in a bold move to drive its Nashville operation forward, Empire has appointed Jennifer Way as its new executive vice president. But here's where it gets interesting. With almost 2 decades of music industry experience under her belt, Way is poised to bring a fresh perspective to the table. In her new role, she will be responsible for leading the overall strategy for Empire's Nashville team, overseeing day-to-day operations and driving growth for the company's Nashville roster. This includes signing and developing new talent, creating new business opportunities, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in music. And this is the part most people miss. Empire's commitment to innovation and artist-first thinking is not just a slogan, but a guiding principle that informs every aspect of its operations. The appointment of Way comes on the heels of the global success of Shabuzi's crossover hit, a bar song Tipsy, which has racked up over 1 billion streams and holds the record for the longest running no one on US Hot 100 history at 19 weeks. But what's even more remarkable is the fact that Empire has been able to achieve this success while staying true to its independent roots. As Way noted, she is thrilled to be joining a team of disruptors who prioritize originality and innovation, and she is excited to contribute to the continued success of this incredible team. However, some might argue that the music industry is due for a shakeup, and that Empire's approach is not without its risks. But here's the thing. With a leader like Way at the helm, who has a proven track record of overseeing campaigns and multiple hits for acts like Kane Brown, Luke Combs, and Miranda Lambert, the possibilities are endless. As Empire founder CEO Ghazi noted, Jennifer is a powerhouse whose vision and track record align perfectly with the company's mission to redefine what's possible in music. But what do you think? Do you believe that Empire's approach is the future of the music industry, or are there other factors at play? Let us know in the comments. And for more stories like this, be sure to sign up for our daily morning briefing newsletter to stay up to date on all the latest news, features, and analysis from the music industry.